Hey guys, good evening, good morning. Um, we have an amazing session starting now. We'll talk about how to get the most out of your Labor Day and your Black Friday, Cyber Monday with email. Um, you got to prepare for these holidays now. This would be like one of the biggest like holidays for your business, and with email, you can maximize those for maximum profitability. Guys, before we get started, I'm just waiting for guys to join me. Guys from Underground Ecom, they're experts in email marketing. These guys are driving millions and millions of dollars in revenue for e-commerce brands. So I'm very excited to. Oh, there you go. Hey, Matt.
Hey, how you do? How is your arm?
Oh man, it's like the same as it was. Like I mean, it's takes time, you know.
That sounded crazy, man. Like, I'm glad you're okay.
Yeah. It's it's kind of like I'm paying for the consequences of my actions, and that's the way it is. That's
It's a
how
very,
it's.
very pragmatic way of looking at it.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it is what it is. Like, I mean, it's good that haven't broken my neck. It would be hard to operate without hat.
Yes.
It's kind of like difficult. No, I mean, like honestly, I mean these things like um the ATVs, and I've had conversations like with few people. Um, these things are dangerous, man. Like if you guys ever drive like ATVs, like watch out. Like I mean, I know a few people that kill themselves.
Yeah.
You
Yeah, I
know.
know some people on kind of motorbikes and motocross bikes that haven't come out too well, but I don't ride either. So yeah, I'm trying to keep myself a little bit safe.
I wanted to get myself like before this happened. I was like, oh, I want to get myself like a motorcycle. I want
Yeah.
to get myself like a I don't know, Harley or like Indian or whatever. And then I'm like, fuck, probably like it's a stupid idea. And actually, my so I have my arm broken, and like I have my kid has a swimming teacher, and his teacher's like, I come to pick him up, from swimming lessons, and he's like, "Oh, you have broken arm." Yeah. Oh, I broken my arm like 3 times. Like and it's like basically driving on the motorcycle in Miami is a stupid fucking idea.
Yeah, and it's not even your riding either.
Yeah.
It's people that's around you. That's the problem. I
Yeah,
mean,
man. Like they turning without lights, they kind of like out of nowhere. Yeah, it's like I changed my mind, I just like switched the fucking lane. Like,
it doesn't mean anything to them other than a scratched fender,
yeah.
where you sprawled out on the freeway. My
Crazy.
my wife won't let me get a motorbike. She's completely vetoed it. I am not allowed at all, and I was like, probably for the best.
Yeah.
Can't even have a good midlife crisis.
Yeah, well, exactly. Maybe I'll get a speedboat. Who knows? But Alex, I wanted to introduce you to a few more of the team at
That's
today.
awesome.
So
Yeah. Nice
we've
to meet
got
you guys.
we've got Glenn, who's our client success manager.
Hey,
Hello.
hey.
So we've got Denitsa, who is our client director too. So we've got the whole team for you today. But as usual, I'm not going to do anything because the brains of it is Stefan, who's got some stuff prepped for you and the ESS members. So yeah, man, Stefan, I'll hand it over to you. I'm going to stop stealing your limelight.
Thanks so much, Matt. Alex, hi, hey, everyone
Hey.
who's watching. It's good to see you all again and to talk to you. For today, I wanted to sort of have a little bit more. So as you know, and as everybody who joins these knows, we always have these presentations where we go through some data and we go through some stuff. And we will have one very soon when it comes to just focused on Black Friday and Q4 in general, sort of making the most out of that and understanding sort of the ins and outs of the event. For
Yeah.
today, I wanted to open it up a little bit more sort of in terms of the audience questions, maybe some questions from you, Alex, and stuff like that. Because we always seem to put these questions like at the end of the thing, and everybody gets a little bit fatigued with like all of the various things we've sort of mentioned and stuff like that. So I'll kick things off with some FAQs, some questions that we get a lot from our partners, from people we talk to everywhere. I'll have maybe 3 or 4 of these to cover, and then I'll pretty much open it up to you guys for any maybe questions in concrete about your business, or maybe some things you might be interested in trying, but you're not sure what they're going to look like. So that's how we want to play today, if that all makes sense.
For sure, yeah. Let's make it interactive. Let's make it helpful for everyone. So yeah,
Absolutely.
guys, let's do it.
Absolutely. So the first question, the little FAQ block I had, the first question we're seeing a lot from people in terms of events is, how early should I start preparing for an event? Like, that is a very, very frequently asked question. Like, people don't have a clear picture of how early they should sort of start testing, how early they should start segmenting their audience, how early they should be sort of looking at numbers and stuff like that. So from our experience so far, the answer to this question is essentially you should never stop preparing for an event, right? So everything you do within your retention channel, including email, is always ramping up to some sort of event, right? So if you look at the marketing calendar throughout the year, as soon as one season, one event sort of fizzles out and then stops and becomes obsolete, the next event is right behind the corner. So it's like, you have Black Friday, then you have Christmas. After Christmas, then you have Valentine's Day, or if you're in Australia, maybe you're preparing for Australia Day. Then after Valentine's Day, you're starting.
Is there like Australia Day?
Yep.
Oh, that's
so
awesome.
It's I think it's, and I'm sorry to any Australians out there, I think it's 26th or 27th January, something along these lines. So
is there like a day like for every country on earth? Like, imagine like you have like 200 holidays just like that.
you have like 17 passports and you just never work in your life. You're just always on holiday. Yeah. So I think Alex Becker did a nice showcase on Facebook the other day where he just showed his passports, and he has like 7 of them, and it's amazing. So yeah, anyways, so that's sort of after Valentine's Day, you start prepping for spring sale. After spring sale, it's Mother's Day. After Mother's Day, it's Juneteenth, Father's Day, 4th of July. There's a bunch of these things always going on. So what you have to do in reality is decide which of these events are important for your business, maybe all of them. It's if you're selling, I would say, apparel, or if you're selling jewelry or something along these lines. Any event really is a good excuse to run a really nice sell. So any time between 2 of these events, you have to spend understanding what went really well for you during the event itself, what could have gone better, and then how can you capitalize on these things. For example, Black Friday is a great time to engage your entire audience. Like, you have a special deal for your unengaged audience. You have a special deal for your VIPs. You have special deal for your everyday shoppers. There's always somebody there. You have to hit them with a deal. Eventually, you'll engage the most of all of these audiences. So the question is, how do you take this and run with it for as long as you can and keep these people engaged, right? So what do you do after the event? So your strategy shouldn't only focus, and your prep shouldn't only focus on the event itself. It should focus on how to maximize that, how to run things after the event until the next big thing. So to answer this question, you're always preparing for some sort of event. Make the most out of the post-event spike that you have, and try to stretch it as long as you can, ideally all the way until your next event. So the prep never ends. It's actually ongoing, and it should always be your main point of focus. The second FAQ question, the second FAQ comes from like the creative department, I would say, which is how much time and how much focus should we invest into the creative for a particular event, which is a really good question if you're working on a lean team. Now, Alex, I know from your lives and from your videos and stuff like that, you're always sort of talking about having a good team to help you scale up, and sort of having a really strong group of people with you to sort of build on that foundation. So if you're working with this kind of team and you have a very specific group of tasks for each of your employees, you eventually realize that you don't have enough time to deal with maybe designing emails, or you maybe quickly put something together in Canva, shoot it out, and people start thinking, creative is an important element of these emails. How do we approach this? Is there a scientific or a sort of optimized approach to these emails? Reality is, creative is important. It's not as important as the offer, and it's not as important as your product's market placement, right? So if your product is satisfying a need, and if your offer is good, your creative can take a back seat. Like, you can even send text-based emails. You can send emails with maybe just one image or symbolically just display your product, and they are going to perform really well. If your product is in, like, it has steep competition, there are many similar products in the market, you have a very sort of specialized audience that you've built, through blood, sweat, and tears, then you definitely want to make sure your emails have oomph, because you are likely going to be competing with for that ad space with a bunch of other competitors. So unless your emails stand out, you are going to be very quickly set aside for more punchy emails. This starts with the subject line, which ensures that people actually get to see all of the amazing creative you've done, and then continues into hero images, continues into the body text in your email, even where your buttons are placed, how your products are displayed. Everything is important, right? So these are two opposites, right? It's almost never that easy. So it's almost never that you don't have any competition, and that you have so much competition that you're completely being drowned. So usually most brands are somewhere in the middle. So you have to find a good balance between how you are positioning your product in the market with your front end ads with Google, with Facebook, with everything, Snapchat, TikTok, whatever you're doing, but then also how you're sort of displaying that product to the audience that's interested. And that's the sort of thing we help our partners with, which is we take over a lot of that footwork, and we take over a lot of that time and energy, and convert from the service fees and stuff like that. We convert that into spectacular creative that you can then use to advertise your product through email. One last note in this question about branding. So I know a lot of you drop ship, and that's completely fine. It's a valid business model. Eventually, once you sort of find that winner that just keeps on winning and it keeps on giving, you start to think, okay, why don't I get some stock, and why don't I start turning this into an actual brand, right? Obviously, that brings a bunch of logistic challenges, a bunch of overhead, a bunch of other stuff that you have to worry about. But it also brings an exciting moment where your creative starts taking a more unified shape. This is where you have to start thinking, what do my emails, what kind of message are we sending? Are we using the brand colors? Are we using the brand messaging? Is the product being displayed in the way that sort of my designer told me that is going to give me the best engagement? And then from there, you have to start investing more into your creative and how it's done. So it all really depends on what you are focusing on for any particular event. And the easiest, of course, thing you should do is always make sure to have the topic of the event as high up close to the top of the email as you can. If it's Black Friday, make sure the words Black Friday are everywhere in your creative. If it's Labor Day, do the same. If it's Valentine's Day, do the same. Always at the top, headlining everything, special offer, Black Friday deal, to make sure the average customer isn't as smart as you think they are. So you really have to draw their attention to the particular thing you want them to see. Otherwise, it's gone. So that's the sort of thing.
Awesome.
And then
yeah. And so question. Do you have like some examples maybe that you can demonstrate?
I can definitely send across a couple to you guys in Discord or wherever you are. I can send them to you, Alex, so you can show them to the guys in Facebook. We can show you a couple of examples of holiday specific emails we've done over the years, and most of them follow this sort of putting the holiday theme front and center, and then doing a bunch of offer and making it like a no-brainer to just click and go on the website and continue shopping.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah. Cool. The third question, and this is where I'm gonna open it up a little bit more. The third question we received is around testing offers. So essentially, as part of that ongoing preparation, you'll start sort of testing various offers for your product, and pretty much just keep going and changing them up. Now, the key thing, the key principle here is that your holiday offers should be different and specific than your normal offers, right? So something you would offer maybe in a weekly sale or an end of week sale, or it's so during like a payday sale or whatever else you might have. These deals are fine and they're run of the mill. It's a good way to incentivize and getting a volume of orders from any email. However, your holiday sales need to be a little bit different, right? So what you have to do is you want to have like a different sort of how should I put this? Different test different types of offers, right? So for example, if we're testing an offer type that says buy one get one free, or we're testing an offer that says $1 amount off, or if you're testing an offer that says a certain percentage off, or anything like that, right? So you don't want to necessarily test the levels of the offer. So whether it's $10 or $20 or $30 off, but you do want to test if one particular type of offer works better against another, right? Before your event. Then during the event, the only thing you have to do is increase the offer, amp it up. Once you amp it up, once you have that offer and it's very good, you'll have an offer type that you know your audience is responding well to, and you'll have a pretty good amount of something, obviously, that's cutting into your margin, but ultimately results in a higher volume of offers, which ultimately is going to bring you more revenue. So that's how you approach. So don't necessarily test high versus low or stuff like that. Instead, test horizontally different types of offers and see what your audience resonates to the best, and then work your way into that. To your question, Alex, we will be able to send a presentation in terms of the things that I've covered now immediately after this call. So we'll make sure that's available to the guys afterwards, so we can.
Cool. So guys, you can comment slides so that when we finish the presentation, guys can send over the actual presentation to you. Mm-hmm. Just comment slides. So whether on Facebook or on YouTube. So that we can send it your way. And I actually have something here that will be like interesting. So in terms of so I'll share my screen, and maybe we can do kind of like kind of like a review or like critique of the actual like emails. So I'll share my screen.
Sure. So I mean, like dissect an email example that you have, right?
Yep. Yeah, exactly. So I will share my screen. Can you guys see my screen?
No.
So this is something we've got here. Right, share screen. Yep. You see my screen?
Yep.
All right, cool. So yeah, these are some Black Friday emails. Mm-hmm. Oh, I don't think it's probably doesn't it doesn't show in the right way. Let me see here. You know how to zoom in here, like properly? Oh,
you can zoom in, but it's gonna clear up. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let me see. How do I scroll up? Let me see if. Oh, maybe I'll hold on. I'll do it from my. If I have it here. Yeah, I have to probably download them because like, and guys, by the way, comment swipe. So I have this like whole like swipe file of like these emails, so we can also share that with you. It just like it doesn't display like very Um, oh, I got it. I got it. Oh no, no, it doesn't scroll up or down. So yeah. You can continue.
Mhm. Sure. So essentially, what I wanted to do now was basically just open it up and see, if there are any questions from the audience, if there's anybody who has any thoughts, any questions in particular about your business. I can even get on to really good emails or Mild or some other websites and go through a couple of examples there, just on the sort of spur of the moment thing here with you guys on the presentation. And yeah, so super interested to hear what you're sort of facing. It's Labor Day is just around the corner. It's pretty much next week. Very curious to see what your strategies are. If you needed any sort of comments, if you wanted us to sort of take a look, that's something we most certainly can do. So yeah, just
I
we're here
I
for you.
I finally got it. So is that okay if I share it?
Yep, go ahead.
All right, cool. So yeah, I got it here. So this is pretty much swipe file from like different companies, and it's
Mhm,
been accumulated like over the years.
mhm.
So yeah, like these are Black Friday, Cyber Monday. Can you see my screen? Can you see it well?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, cool. So how would you kind of like how would you rank like this one, for example?
Well, the first thing is that the email itself is very long, which is always risky because obviously long emails allow you to display a lot of your product. So a lot of things, you have different styles, you have different models, you have even, it's pretty much like 5, 6 emails just sort of glued together into one big piece. Now, what you have to be careful about is how big is the email itself. Like if it's, in terms of the size of the images and everything else that you've sort of put in there, it can actually significantly slow down loading times. So people might actually have only enough patience to see maybe this hero, maybe a couple other images, but there's no way they're going, especially on their mobile phones, they're going to just scroll down until the end of the email. So while you're investing a lot of your time into making all of this creative, it actually might be the case that a lot of recipients won't get to see this because they just don't have enough of an attention span to scroll through everything. Um,
Mm. So what
what
is the sweet spot from your experience? Like how long the email should be
Mhm.
from your experience? And you guys are doing like millions and millions of dollars of like testing. So what's what
Sure.
makes the most sense?
I would say so. A good email, a good sort of mid-length email should have a hero, just like this one. This is a very nice hero. I like it. It should
Yeah.
have a text block. It should have a button. So this one, for example, immediately follows with another image. So it should have a text block, a button, and it should have
So
maybe a
here,
recommended
so
products block.
at this point, it would be like a CTA, like call to action, like shop the sale, right? Like for example, what they had
You could
here.
you could put it there, although because the hero is so big, it's slightly longer. It might actually be the case that it ends up being under the fold on mobile screens. So you have to be
Mm,
careful where you put that CTA. In my opinion, the CTA placement on this one is good. I would only make it more apparent that it's there.
right.
So this,
I mean, it's so like I mean, you don't even see it. I mean, like you have
yeah,
to like literally look very closely to see this like
yeah,
text
yeah.
here.
It's eaten up by the massive 75% that's right in the middle, and that makes sense. It's good to put your offer front and center, but then the CTA to sort of follow that offer needs to be equally apparent, equally visible.
Mm,
In this situation, it's a little bit sort of almost like an afterthought, almost like somebody just banged it on there, and it doesn't really help, people click on the particular thing.
do you see this issue a lot? Because I mean, this is kind of like this is like a brand, right? And so a lot of people, when it comes to the brand, like there's like direct response advertising and there's like brand advertising, right? Like with like you just
Sure.
left something, it needs to look good, and the colors need to kind of like match with each other. It's like in brand book and like so. Do you think that's kind of like where like a lot of people like do it kind of like not in the most like efficient way, where
Mhm.
they just want to like they focus on branding more than they focusing on like direct response and actually getting results?
Mhm. Yeah, we've had situations when brands were actively more focused on whether the emails look good or not than whether they're making money or not, which is the ultimate
Mm,
sort of end, extreme focus in that situation you mentioned, Alex. So actively they're ready to debate and discuss every single email for like days and weeks, rather than just sending it out and obviously, enjoying the revenue that follows suit. So it's important to find the balance. And I understand, when brands are brand focused, as they should be, but then that brand focus should never replace other focus, like focus on revenue, focus on testing, focus on the audience and stuff like that. If an email looks perfect but nobody sees it, you've basically wasted your time. So you have to basically be very, very careful.
Cool. All right. So this here.
Mhm.
Kind of
That's so after that, like I said, if you look at it from a sort of a real estate perspective, this email uses the space really well, because
Uh-huh.
it sort of shows a lot of different products, a lot of different collections, a lot of different messages and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So they've squeezed a lot of that content into a relatively small frame. Now, if I don't know this brand, but if this is a brand that only sends like one campaign per week, or only sends one campaign per month, there are brands like these,
Uh-huh.
then this campaign makes a lot of sense, because the audience would be used to receiving very sort of
So it's kind of like more like a summary, right? Like it's not kind
yeah,
of like so specific, but it's kind of like
yeah,
let's just like let's just get everything together, and it's like let's just like
yeah,
pack
that's
everything, just send it once,
yeah.
instead of making it like, let's say, one email, one offer, one email, one offer, right? Like one email, one offer, and kind of like more like measuring response, obviously click-through rate and sales from each one of those, and seeing kind of which offers resonate with the audience the best.
Mhm. Yeah, that makes sense. Now, I can sort of tell you what I think about this is face value, but of course there probably is more context for this particular brand and why they've decided to go with this. An assumption I have is because they don't send as many emails. So in doing that, they're actively sharing a lot of content with their audience without needing to send a lot of emails. Ultimately, that can save you some money on volume as well, because you're paying your email service provider for volume as well as number of people. But it is, as I said, given the average attention span, and given how quickly people want everything to load, it's probably not the best idea in any case to send an email this big to your audience. I would split this up into maybe even 3 distinct emails, maybe follow them up one after another, make a whole story out of them, subject line sort of being related to one another. And then I would probably maybe put in like maybe CTA placement testing. I would put a CTA on the top of the email, CTA just above the fold. Maybe I would even use this as another example to see if the CTA placement actually does anything with the engagement. And it would be a really nice, maybe 3-4 day event that would give us a lot of useful information in terms of where we can put our button, or maybe something else, maybe different colors, within the emails, color schemes and stuff like that. So you can test a lot of these things and get a lot of with a lot of information with this.
I have another interesting example here. So what do you think about this one?
Let me take a look. Yeah, that one is a little bit more sort of on the nose. You can see that the offer is there are 2 offers actually in this email, which is in itself not always a great idea. So you have the 40% offer that sort of dominates the very top of the email, which means that's the main offer, right? So you want people to click on that as soon as they see the email. And then you have another smaller offer that's just under there that says 20% off site-wide plus in store. So that's a different offer that they're running, right? Now, it's sometimes a good idea to have 2 offers in an email and to say, the big one.
That's not it. There's more.
Yeah, exactly. So there's so much going on. That can be a good thing if you're having different product lines, and like you have one offer for one product line, another offer for another product line. It's okay. However, I would still work on splitting these 2 offers into 2 emails, because simplicity is the key. And also, both offers might not be suitable for the same audience. The 40% offer might be suitable for the entire audience and something that would resonate well with maybe an engaged group or something like that. the 20% offer might be more suitable for people who are interested in your product, who care about your brand, because they would shop anyway. And the 20% off is just good to give them that little extra boost to shop immediately, but not to eat away from your margin, because you don't have to incentivize as much. So you'll actually save a lot of money by doing that.
With these here on the bottom, like as you can see, like VIP virtual shopping, and there's like some elements here.
Mhm.
So what do you kind of like, have you seen that like being useful here, or it's also like, I mean, kind of like irrelevant or too like overwhelming? Because I mean, there's like several calls to actions. There's like this shop here, there's like shop here, like there's
Mhm.
shop here, like there's like multiple
Yeah.
categories here, and there is also like VIP, and you can also shop, and you can also click here. So it's kind of like,
Mhm.
there's like many things going on here, right?
One of the things, it's a good point, but there's a more technical element to this. The number of links in any email directly correlates with the sort of a spam score of your email. So the more links you have in the email, the better the chance you'll end up in spam or promotions or something like that. And especially if those links are really long, like if they have HTTPS, colon, and then line, and then your website line, collection page, another collection page, another collection page, product page. There's like a million elements of it. The longer it is and the more of them you have, they actually negatively influence your spam score. So this email probably has dozens of links, like for each product and CTA and the video and stuff like that. That is not great at all.
What is the sweet spot for this?
I would say keep it to a bare minimum. So the if you can have one link in your email, go with one link, like perfect. Usually you can't, so you'll have at least 2 or 3 links, which is fine. But I would say the closer you get to double digits, the worse it is. So I would say avoid going above maybe 8 or 9 per email. But that is very arbitrary, so you have to be very, very conscious of that link economy in your email. So try not to overwhelm your email with a bunch of different places to click.
Jump in here if it's okay with you guys.
Yeah.
VIP shopping section. It's very interesting, like a reminder of COVID era. So a lot of brands kind of try to differentiate their competitors and offer the different experiences and give you a different experience. Unique selling point should definitely deserve a step, especially for people who perhaps they view the product, they're active there, but they never
is that only on my side, or like the connection is
a little bit choppy?
Oh, Donna, like we can hear you very well, because I mean the connection kind of like goes like up and down.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry about that. And Matt, for you, like so someone just joined, and they're not familiar with you guys. So Matt, maybe you give kind of like a brief kind of like introduction to you guys and what you guys do, so everyone is aware, like for people who joined a bit later.
Yeah, no problem. So we're Underground Ecom. We're now one of the largest email marketing agencies globally. We specialize in email. We don't do anything else other than email, which is our real strong suit. Instead of being a kind of jack of all trades, master of none, we have just gone right down the line with email and SMS. Now, we've worked with many of your members. I think we're now over the 30 mark, and we've helped them consistently reach kind of 30% of their total revenue, and in some cases quite a lot more through email marketing. We are here to really help the ESS kind of community to build up kind of their knowledge and skill set with emails, by doing these, by doing audits, by kind of working with people directly on a monthly basis. So there's myself, I'm the Chief Revenue Officer. We've got Denitsa, who's our Client Director, Glenn, who's our Client Success Manager, and then Stefan, who's our Head of Ops. I always call him my man with a plan, because he's always the one that leads these calls. So that's that's us in a nutshell.
Good stuff. Good stuff. All right. So yeah. So what Donna mentioned, I mean, her connection wasn't the best. So she mentioned that unique selling points such as VIP shopping in the email shown absolutely deserve a separate email. That would be an ideal type of content to target engaged prospects who actively show interest in our products but never actually place an order. Very, very good one. That's pretty much like objection handling 101, right? That's like
In
um
the
eh, wow, I think that's so like I think that deserves like a separate question in terms of like every brand has like objections, like for every purchase, like it's either like why is it like too expensive, why is it so cheap, like how can I get it, how fast will I get it, what is the service after that, what is guarantee, like what are specific, obviously each product has features and benefits that people have actually kind of like specific questions to. Where do you incorporate that into your overall kind of like client life cycle, in kind of like, let's say, in what of the workflows, what of the sequences, the automations on Klaviyo, for instance, where would you attach this, where do you think is a proper place for that? And also on the campaign side, like how often would you do that kind of like introduction to those like objection handling to your list?
Well, that's a good series of questions. I think objection handling is actually one of the most useful things that your email channel can actually deliver, because whilst all the other channels are like immediately conversion focused, like you gauge their success by how much they've converted, email has a bunch of different faucets where one of the faucets, which is the promotional side, is focused mainly on converting audiences, but other faucets only have the conversion as maybe a secondary or tertiary goal, the primary goal being either engagement or re-engagement or understanding sort of how to talk to your audience, getting first or zero party data. That's a very popular buzzword these days. So yeah, it's something that really opens up a lot of possibilities. Now, objection handling is definitely good for anything other than maybe immediate promotional emails. And it's really good for any audience other than your most engaged and VIP audiences, right? So basically what you want to do is you don't want to waste time handling objections for people who don't have any objections, for people who like your product, for people who want to buy it. Just like you don't want to incentivize those people too much because they are already almost there. They just need to be reminded that it's time for them to buy or something like that. So you have to be very careful. It's very easy to send a 50% off campaign to your VIPs and then say, oh yeah, we had 7 million orders from this. Well, of course you're going to have it. It's people who already wanted to buy and you just gave them a 50% gift.
And with all the stuff that's going on right now with increasing like production costs, like inflation, supply chain issues, like rising labor costs, right? Like, so everything is kind of like growing in cost. So any of those kind of like discounts, as you said, you have to be like very strategic about it. Like, it's not just
Yeah.
like slapping like 20% off, like, so that obviously you increase your conversion, maybe you increase your conversion rate, maybe not, but also at the same time you just decreased your profit margin by very, very, very significant amount, because like that pretty much goes from the selling price. So if you're selling the product for like $50 and you gave like 20% discount, now you only have $40, and I mean your costs remain the same.
Right.
So as you said, I think that's one of the things that people have to be very like aware of and strategic about in terms of who to give discounts to. And some people don't need a discount. Some people, as you said, would buy anyway.
Yeah, that's exactly true, and that's sort of what that strategic thinking actually brings to the table. It's like thinking, what sort of audiences are you actually talking to, and what do those audiences need to convert, right? Some audiences don't need anything; they're ready to convert. Maybe their ads your ads warmed them up, or maybe they've heard word of mouth or social or something like that, influencer marketing. They're ready. Other people need convincing. Understand, some people, their main objection might be cost, which cost is not an objection, value is an objection. So their objection is value, right? They may feel like they're not getting enough value for the price they would have to pay for your product. So maybe your emails need to have more of your, the value of your product, right? So they have to have more information about what problems does your product solve, how quickly it is to ship to their particular location, what sort of benefits do they get in terms of post-purchase care? Do they get any extra, like, boons with maybe subscribing to your program or something like that, right? Then there are people who object to the nature of your product, right? So it's like, I have a car, but why should I get this car vacuum cleaner? Or I have an apartment, but why should I get this, I don't know, piece of furniture for my apartment? So then your main role, your main focus in these emails should be to showcase the product itself, right? To showcase what problem does it solve and how effectively does it solve it. For example, you will never need another vacuum cleaner again if you buy this. You've seen this piece of copy a million times all over the internet. This is the last time you'll buy X product. This is the last product you'll need in your life, something like that, right? That is a direct attempt to solve the objective related to the nature of the product. Why should I get this particular thing? And it's a very much like a middle of the funnel action. People understand they have a problem and people are aware that there's a solution to that problem, but they're not sure that your solution is the right one for them. So use your email to sort of solve this. Both of these things, both of these objections are very easily resolved through welcome flow, right? So the welcome flow will fulfill two important functions for you. The first one is understanding which audience is which. So you can do this by directly asking, or you can do this by carefully analyzing engagement and data. And then from there, you can diversify this flow into objection handling strings, where one string handles value-based objections and potentially even offers a discount at some point through the journey, while the second string handles the product nature objections and sort of says, this is why this exact product is for you. You are a 20-year-old man who owns a car. You don't have the time or the skill set to clean it properly. This will help you clean it with zero energy and zero, sort of planning and stuff like that. Maybe that's an objection, right? So your welcome flow is great. Another flow that's great is an abandoned checkout flow, which is also something that's very low in the funnel. So people who abandon their checkout do this for a surprisingly narrow group of reasons. I won't go into it, but every single one of these reasons can have its own particular objection handling string, where it says, you've abandoned the cart because you're not sure about shipping costs. Here's our customer service number. Reach out and we'll figure something out for you. You abandoned the cart because the product is too expensive. Here's a discount. You abandoned the cart because you're not sure, if this is the right purchase for you at this point. Here's a couple of reasons why that's the case. And from there, the options are pretty much limitless. And you can even have a specific objection handling flow that doesn't have to be a part of any other flow. It's just in itself, which can be sort of your lead conversion flow or your prospect conversion flow or something like that, which will have sort of the trigger settings that says somebody has viewed a product on your store, they haven't placed an order in the last 24 hours, they haven't been active on the website in the last 24 hours, send them these emails that say, come back, here's what you've missed, here's what you've seen, here's why it's good for you, buy it today. So there's a lot of these things that you can do, and that's going to help you, further ensure that your product is displayed in the best possible light.
Let me see if we have any questions. Guys, drop any questions in, for like email marketing, like SMS. These guys are geniuses here for everything like email marketing, SMS related. So just hit the questions here. I have one question here. Best EU countries so far. Like, where did you see the best results?
It's interesting. Best EU country so far. I assume that's to sort of market to. It really depends on what your business model is. For example, if you are like a DTC maybe business or something like that, Southwest Europe is actually a great place to start. Italy, for example, is famously good, and it's sort of, the people have a very good sort of relationship with this, and it's a very economically potent country in this sense. But then if you want to go to a more classic dropshipping sort of level or model, then Germany probably is your best bet. We had a lot of partners that sort of operate in Germany, maybe Germany and France as well. That is a really, the economic heart of Europe is somewhere between these two countries. So I would say if you're looking at continental Europe, these three countries are great, but it really depends on what your business model is and what you're trying to achieve. East Europe isn't bad for DTC as well, like Czech Republic, Poland, maybe even Austria to some extent, although it belongs to Central Europe. So those are all countries where you have people that have a tradition of D2C, and it's really well established there. But then if you want to go more down the dropshipping route, where there's like even Amazon present in some of these countries, Germany is number one if you're trying to run things with or through Amazon, and France with it, not too far behind. So that's, my 2 cents from experience.
For sure. So we have another question here. Should I focus on emailing people who bought on my store, or people who have not bought yet?
The answer to this question is yes. So focus on both. I don't know your name, I just know your profiles. It's Tremsdell. Focus on both, because focus on people who have bought in your store in terms of increasing their LTV. So don't bombard them with discounts 2 days after they bought something. Give them some post-purchase value, nurture them, and then when it's time to place an order again, if we're talking about a consumable product, then ramp up your efforts and try again. If it's a product that's a little bit more high ticket, or it's not a consumable product, then try to have an affiliate program set up, or try to offer these things to them as like, you've liked it, now maybe your friends are going to like it, buy it for them, or try to find ways to where people might need 2 or more of your products, and then use those angles to talk to your audience. In terms of people who haven't bought, I think that's a no-brainer. So basically push for that first purchase, either through a promo the calendar with your campaigns, or through abandonment emails like browse abandonment, checkout abandonment, which will help convert them for the first time. And then you can work more on building their LTV, lifetime value, and converting them into VIPs. Then you can have a separate strategy for VIP customers, which you can further segment based on location or product they bought or product group, or the mind boggles. So there you go.
I have a clothing brand that sells well on Europe, but I've never been able, let me see here, but never been able to be profitable in the United States. I sell hoodies. Does it exist in very different way of advertising there? Mm-hmm. Like basically consumer behavior and what customers are kind of responding to in Europe versus like United States.
Right. Well, I mean, Americans are famous for wearing hoodies anywhere, anytime, and with anything, even on shorts. I've never seen that in Europe, but in America they do it. So hoodies, I think, are a really good product for the US. So it's surprising that you haven't been able to be profitable there. Although shipping to the US and other like logistics costs might be slightly different than in Europe, especially if you are in Europe. That might be a completely different story. Lastly, when it comes to the US, I keep saying that the American market, the US, is where marketing in itself and in its form that we see today started. That's where it was founded. That's where it started existing. So any classic marketing strategy is going to work most effectively on the American market. It's not going to be as effective on German market, on French market, on the UK market even. In the American market, they're going to work to their full effect. So maybe try to scale it back and sort of get down to basics, and don't try to make your strategy too sophisticated. Instead, try to do it in a more simpler way, which is going to be more effective on the American audience than if you went with like a more complex strategy in terms of like a volume of emails that cover different topics and nurture before purchase and stuff like that. So I think maybe, without having any extra context, maybe that was your little mistake there. However, if you were willing to give me more context, maybe we can pinpoint exactly in your situation what went wrong. But from experience, that's where people tend to go wrong when moving from Europe to the US. The US has its own marketing laws and strategy that don't really work in Europe and vice versa. So that's, you have to think differently for the US market. I think we had another question here, which actually two. So yeah, according to your experience, what's the best way to collect emails? Pop-ups are great. You have to be very careful with them. You can't really just blast them away and disrupt your experience. What I've seen happen with a lot of dropship websites, some of them are tested to perfection, like to a millisecond, that, if a customer spends their time here in the funnel and here in the funnel, then they should go here, they should do this, they should go there, they should go here. Everything is tested to perfection, but never is a modal introduced into that testing strategy. So we never have any interstitial websites. So you have to try and do that. When you're testing your website, when you're testing to optimize your funnel, you have to introduce a pop-up into that test strategy. This will help you understand how your website operates with a modal, and then it's going to be easy for you to develop a pop-up strategy. That is the only objection I've heard from a lot of dropshippers and a lot of clients that we've worked with, where they say, the pop-up is ruining my conversion rate is dropping as soon as I influence the pop-up, introduce the pop-up, it's sort of ruining the experience. Yes, because you haven't tested for the experience with a pop-up included. So test with that, and you're going to see a much different result, and at the same time collect emails in a very effective way.
What would be your, like, I mean, you guys overseeing like a lot of clients and a lot of stores, like what is kind of like average and also like above average, like outstanding, like email opt-in rate with pop-ups?
Yep. Average good, 10% is what we see. Average good. You'll find a lot of information on the internet saying 1%, 3%, 6%. You'll see all of these numbers depending on how much traffic you get, but a general average across our existing partners is 10%, and that's a good average. If we're going above that, 15, 20%, that is beyond expectation. That's really, really good. If we go below 10%, if we're maybe 6, 7, 8, it's acceptable. It's not amazing, it's not great, but it's acceptable. It will depend a little bit on the quality of traffic you're bringing on the website and on the sort of figures in terms of how many new warm leads you're bringing on the website, or if that's just cold traffic you're bringing from somewhere, which naturally has a lower conversion rate. So it's definitely something to strive for, and any platform is good in terms of, where do you want your pop-up to be hosted. I would say look for a platform that allows you to design and customize your pop-up the most, because a well-designed, customized pop-up that loads quickly is always better than something you've slapped on in 2 minutes and, it's barely acceptable.
Very cool. Very cool. All right, let's see if we have can we get slides? Yeah, guys, we'll prepare slides, and we'll share them with you guys after this. So just comment slides, so we'll send it to you. We'll share it in the community. And another question here that I don't think we answered this one: does SMS need to be sent less frequently? There's not a lot of context on this question, but like,
exactly I think I get it. I actually get this question a lot. So
okay.
No context needed. With SMS, the problem is the consent laws and the sort of oversight is much more strict than is the case with email. So whereas emails are sent in hundreds of millions of emails, even in a relatively small pool of people sending them, SMS are much more expensive to send and are also much more sort of observed by regulatory agencies and stuff like that. So if you were to send a large volume of SMS per month, maybe as large as your emails, you would most likely get banned or blocked very quickly, because you're effectively spamming your audience much more in a much more, I would say, even toxic way than is the case with email. So SMS is a much more old school sort of thing, although obviously it sort of resurrected a little bit over the last maybe 2 to 3 years. It is still a very much old school thing. You can even you can imagine those people just calling your phone and saying, hey, are you interested in buying this very special pillow, out of nowhere? They get your phone number somewhere. You know how you feel when you get that phone call and you're like, stop this, I don't care. It's the same with SMS. So you have to be very, very strategic and careful about how much you send them, because people will look at that and they may not remember that they've left their phone number and subscribed. They may not, maybe you got their phone number somehow, you didn't even get consent. It's very, very risky to send it as much. Again, regulatory oversight is much more close on SMS than it is on email. And that would be why it would need to be sent less frequently. I would say up to 10 SMS campaigns per month is already, very, very high up.
Very cool. Very cool. All right. Yeah, guys, I think we will wrap up. If you guys need help with your email, SMS, just kind of like reviewing what you have right now on your site, on your business, just hit guys here in the community, Matt here in the community. I think Stefan and other guys there as well in the community. Just hit them up if you need help, if you need kind of like some feedback on what you do, and make sure that you prepare for the for the holidays, right? It's kind of like taking advantage of this is crucial for you to be able to maximize your profitability during Q4, like end the year strong. A lot of businesses have been hit, with like advertising costs, like high CPM. So this is your opportunity to really like maximize profits. And also, yeah, if you want to work with guys like directly, guys who are working with a lot of people in our community, they're tremendous partners. So just hit them up directly as well. Chat, see if it's a good fit for both sides. And yeah, guys are here to help to provide the content support. This space is changing so fast, so we have to be constantly on the edge and working with professionals who specialize in each area. Because as business owners, like we can do everything well. Like we can do one thing well, and one of the good things that we can do it. One of the most impactful things that we can do as business owners is to find people who can fill those gaps and who can bring the expertise in specific topics to our business, so that we can focus on scaling, on expanding product lines, on more impactful things in the business. So but email is tremendously impactful, especially for maximizing your profit margins. If you're not utilizing email like actively, then it will be very hard for you to stay competitive moving forward, as CPMs only go up. Like if you're buying traffic on any channel, every channel only has a tendency to go up. It doesn't go down. Like the prices are not getting lower, unless like I don't know, big advertisers drop from Facebook and we get decrease in CPMs, but we don't see that coming yet. So yeah, connect with guys, see what you can collaborate on, and thank you so much, guys, for bringing your expertise. It's always tremendously valuable. So appreciate it so much, and see you next time.
Thank you. The slides will be available soon. Thank you all.
Yeah, thank you guys, and thank you everyone for listening. Thank you, Matt. Thank you for bringing this whole party together.
You're more than welcome. It's always good catching up with everyone.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Cheers, guys.
Yeah.